Come on, Dak.
We doing that recording business?
Come on, Big Dak.
We on that, Big Dog?
We're on that, Big Dak.
Get there, Big Dog.
Dang.
All right, we're back on podcast, different location, huh? Got a podcast going on. Let's do our due diligence real quick, and we'll get started. All right. The Refuge at Dumas is a faith-based, non-denominational, peer-driven, volunteer-powered support recovery center. If you know or if you are someone who is struggling with drugs or alcohol and would like some help, give us a call at the Refuge at Dumas at 806-934-4673. Or if you just want to support us, and we're going to put a QR code up, and you can scan that QR code. And if you want to donate to the Refuge at Dumas, it'd be appreciated. We do grants and stuff like that sometimes, but we get no state funding. We're all donations, prominent donations. That's how the Refuge at Dumas is ran. And if you want to support us, go ahead and hit that QR code, or you just want to listen, that's okay too. We appreciate it, no matter what. Thank y'all.
Please follow our Facebook page.
Oh, yeah, like, share, and follow, man. So tonight, we got a special guest tonight, Mr. Tj Cobos. Long time coming, man. How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm here. Glad to be here.
All right, man. Met TJ, what do you say, probably 7 years ago? First time 7 years ago?
Yeah, I think about 7 years.
Been knowing each other for a while. Been a long road with you. TJ used to be a client at the Refuge at Dumas. Now that he's kind of moved out, living on his own, doing his own thing. Still doing the recovery thing. Still going to work every day, striving to do better. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Charles?
It's just nice to have you, man. It's good to have you, and I think one of the coolest things that we've gotten to do so far is have some success in the room,
Yeah.
And you're truly, I believe, a success to me. You're definitely doing the damn thing. You're living life on its own terms, and you can admit that it's not easy. And you're that light, and you were the light in my darkness. I mean, I was the light for you. I mean, I kind of fed off you for a while. You fed off me, and you've been there for me when my times were tough. And I really appreciate you being here and being able to sit in this room and have this conversation. I mean, that's really what I gotta say, man. I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, man.
So, I have a question.
right off the bat, huh?
Off the bat, I don't know. What do you have anything for him?
Well, I was just gonna say, TJ, kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, man. I think
we both have questions.
we both already kind of built you up, man. Just kind of tell us about yourself. And
well, I don't know. I just turned 49 years old. I did drugs since I was about 15. Right, I've been clean in November. It'll be 4 years, which to me is a miracle, Never thought I would be doing what I'm doing right now. Never imagined I would be clean. Like I said earlier in the little book study we had going on, I was to the point in my life where I was okay in active addiction. I'm not going to say I was happy with it, but I was at the point in my life where I knew I was going to die that way. I had no hope. I guess there was times, I had wants to change, but I didn't. I don't know how to put it. I wasn't willing to put in the effort, And then when I did want to change, it was very short periods of time that would last because it was uncomfortable, A good friend of ours turned me on to this place, and it took me a couple go-arounds, couple stern conversations.
You think we would ever be able to get him on here?
No.
Oh, him?
No.
I don't know, man. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if we did.
It would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said, like about, thank you for what you said about me, because in the beginning, you were a big inspiration to me. I mean, you kept me in line. You helped me stay focused on what I needed to do. I mean, as well as Kendall. I mean, Kendall came at me in a different way, but I mean, that was your job. That's your job. You came at me in a director kind of way, I guess. You know what I mean? You came at me in a friend kind of way. And if it wasn't for the both of y'all together, I don't know where I would be. You know what I mean? I mean, one of the stern conversations we had was, I distinctly remember, and I'll always remember, because I go through this all the time in my head, is you telling me, we can't help you unless you let us. And that's when things started to click, like, yeah, well, I want help, but am I willing to let someone help me? Because being at the age I was, I still had that mentality of, I was 45 when I got here, I think.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've lived my whole life. I'm 45 years old. I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. And it took some deep conversations with you to help me realize that I need to be willing. You know what I mean? I need to be willing to try something different,
It's crazy to think that we go that long and we think we know what's good for us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know what's good for me. I just need a little bit more time, a little less pressure off of me.
Yeah.
Everything's been going bad, just bad, dude, bad. But I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what's
man.
good for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
I mean, my best thinking got me here, and I'm glad it did. I'm very grateful for that, but it wasn't that good of thinking,
Well, I mean, let's go ahead and kind of take that back a little bit, because that's kind of a double-edged sword. Just that saying is a double-edged sword. Like, okay, so all the thinking to that moment led to here. All right, so it could be good or bad.
Yeah.
And like you said, a good friend of yours recommended this place to you, and it just took that little bit of listening. You're like, all right, man, I like what it did for you, so I'm gonna give it a go. But if it don't work out, it's your fault.
Yeah.
And that's cool. That's a good inspiration, is to be able to acknowledge that, hey, man, I did listen one time and it benefited me.
Yeah. For a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of that's a big deal, is just try it for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, actually dedicate yourself for a little bit and see where it goes. And that helps. It's helped me be able to come back more determined to do what I've done already, but better. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So, my question for you is this: so this last time when you came in, before you had this long stretch of sobriety, right? What was the change? What was different when you came in this time than any other time? Like, what actually was your thinking, your thought process of when the change happened, and then what are the little things that you did? I guess we can get into that in a minute, but like, what really made you want this more this time?
I was scared for my life, There was things I did in my addiction that I don't know how to put it, right? So, like, whether it was a paranoid psychosis, which I know you felt because I was there with you. If it was just my head telling me, or if it was real, I don't know, and it doesn't really matter to me now. But
Right.
that put the fear of death in my head. I mean, I was literally scared for my life. I mean, you can ask this guy; he's seen me, and I was scared for my fucking life, and maybe that's when I realized that I wanted to live, and I was running, down to Abilene. I mean, because that's what we or I do as an addict. We run, and I guess it was a spiritual moment. I hit a certain point, and I believe it was God saying, you need to turn around and go back to the refuge. You need to put your I'm losing my mind here. I'm losing my train of, not my train of thought, my words. You need to put your resentments aside, because I did have resentments from being here from the second time, and you need to put all that aside, and you need to go ask for help, and that's what. It was God talking to me. That's what I believe. It was God in my head telling me, you need to put all this aside, and if you want to live and change, you need to go back to the refuge, and that's what I did,
And then when you got here, after a few days or however long it took for you to get your thinking back to a little bit normal, what was because something had to have been different, right? I'm sure it was kind of like brand new for a little bit, but not, because you'd been here before. Yeah. But what were you determined to do different?
I'm not going to say I was determined to do anything different. I was just willing. And I wasn't, when I got here, I was willing to do what I needed to do to stay here. Okay. For about, that willingness lasted about 24 hours, maybe. Was it? I don't know. I came in on a Friday. Maybe 24 hours, you know what I mean? Because the fear of death.
I'm going to say 3 days.
3 days?
Because I hollered at you on a Tuesday.
Okay, see, I couldn't remember. I don't exactly remember the timeline, which I'm not good with timelines, but it didn't last very long, and then I broke everything I gave my word to, pretty much, and did everything I agreed not to do, and then me and Kendall had a nice little conversation, and to put it in a polite way, you know what I mean? It was a stern conversation that I needed to hear, and that's what I said earlier. It was like he one of the things I remember him saying. There's a couple things I distinctly remember, but the main one is we can't help you unless you let us help you.
So when that stuck, when that hit you, what did that look like?
It was scary, It was, to me, it was uncomfortable, very scary, very very uncomfortable. It was like, it made sense though, is what happened. You know what I mean? It made sense in my mind.
What were some things that you had to not do? Like, let's get specific. Like, what happened?
I had to follow some rules. You know what I mean? I had to do things I didn't want to do. I didn't want to get up every morning and come to a meeting at 7:30. That's not something. I'm a sleeper. Y'all know me. I could sleep my life away. But I knew that was one of the things I had to do. I had to get up and come in here every morning to make my meeting. I had to be here at the 10 o'clock meetings, and then we still had the 2 o'clock meetings. I had to be willing to take suggestions and not only just listen to them, but take them in and actually try them. I had to swallow a lot of pride, one of the things that was said to me in that conversation was, what are you proud of? You ain't got a fucking thing to be proud of, And that one was a hard hit, but it was a needed hit, That was something I needed to fucking hear. Like I said, being 45 years old, you get that mentality of like, I've lived my whole life. I don't have to listen to you. And that's how I lived my whole life, It was, I don't know how to say it. It was just, it was everything that was said in those conversations I needed to fucking hear. I didn't want to hear them. Didn't like hearing them. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I did, and I wanted to hear that shit, but it was needed. And I actually had to listen, be willing to take that into account, what was being said to me. I couldn't just, yeah, okay, like we do in our addiction, yeah, okay, yeah, you're good, yeah, I got you, you know what I mean? I couldn't say, I got you, right. I'd been here 2 times before, and the program had already weaseled its way in my head So, I mean, I knew it worked. I'd seen people. Maybe I didn't want to believe that it worked, but all the proof was 100% in front of me.
Yeah.
I mean, I know several guys that have been through the program and that are still successful today. I had to be willing. I had to do a lot of things I didn't want to do. Get up in the morning and come in here, share in the meetings. You know.
Yeah.
I had to get honest with myself. I had to get honest with other people. I had to just be willing to take advice. You know what I mean? I had to put the work in. I had to come back here like we used to come back here every night and read some recovery, read the Bible. You know what I mean? Those are things I didn't want to do. You know, but I had to be willing to do that stuff. I mean, simple things. I had to start getting some structure, start getting some, I guess discipline would be the word, you know? And start being okay with being uncomfortable. That was a big thing because I was very uncomfortable in the beginning.
Dang. Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I had to start just not, like I said, not just listening to other people's advice and being like, yeah, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I had to actually use it and take it and try it out for myself.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang.
Sounds familiar.
Well, it's crazy to hear you say it because, like, I guess, like in the moment whenever I was telling you, like, it didn't hit me like it just hit me a few minutes ago. Like, kind of got emotional over it, you know. But one of the hardest things that was for me to be able to tell you is kind of for 90 days leave your family alone. That was hard for me to tell you, but I knew that that's what you needed. Your family's always been a safety net for you, and they want to love you, you know. And it's like, well, give them something to love for a little bit. Change some things. Learn how to give instead of always take. And that's very hard for us to grasp that concept whenever we're always in that situation where we need to be helped. Now you're in a situation where you're able to help. You're putting back in, and that's, for me at the time, it was hard. It was hard because I've never really thought that I've ever used my family as a safety net like that, you know. And then when you see somebody that has that family connection like that, it's hard to tell them that, you know. But at the same time, we get in a situation where our family kind of hurts us, you know. They give us too much and it hurts us, and they don't do enough and it hurts us, you know. And that's a good thing about having a relationship with God, is He helps you just right, and that's usually what kind of helps us in the long run, is getting help just right. So, what was some of the, as you started getting your life back together? Okay, you did the program, you did some steps, you got in your discipleship program, you got a group of people that was around you to help you weave in and out of these trials of life in the first 30, 90 days. What are some hardships that you had getting back out into life? And how do you, not just the hardships, but how do you weave in and out of traffic of not having to get back into the shit and staying on the right road?
That's an odd question, and not an odd one, but it's a tough one. I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is what I'm going to go with is I have to stay connected with this place. You know, I have to stay connected with you guys. I have to put my recovery first. You know, and because of my recovery, God comes in the picture. So it's that's how it works with me. It's a recovery and God. They're side by side, because without one, I wouldn't have the other.
Right.
I would never have a relationship with God right now if it wasn't for working the program and getting into my recovery and keeping that in focus. And that's that's the biggest thing. And in the beginning, it was a lot easier living here because I lived in a safe environment. I lived in a safe place. You know, I knew that no matter what happened at work, what happened in the world, or what happened at the store, I was coming back to a safe place.
Yeah.
And that helped keep me in focus. Now, being out there on my own is totally different. And for the longest time, I would come back here. You know what I mean? I knew I had my responsibilities here. You know what I mean? I had my book study. I had the meetings. I had whatever I made it to here, you know, celebrate. And no matter what happened during the week, I knew that come Sunday or come Monday or come my Friday of the month that I could get back here. And it's crazy to me because it's like, and I just talked about this the other day in a meeting. When I walk in them doors, it's like I feel better. I feel okay. I realize everything's going to be okay. No matter how big I make my problems, because I make them pretty fucking big, you know. I mean, y'all know that. I'll turn a stub in my toe into fucking the end of the world.
Yeah.
But when I walk in the door, it's just like a sense of calmness, a sense of being okay flows over me. And that's something that, just like today, I mean, I haven't been here in how long? 2 months? Or, you know, a few weeks. It's been a while.
I'd say a few weeks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say 2 months.
I can't. Like I said, I'm not good with timelines. It feels like 2 months. It feels like 6 months, really. You know. And I get out there in the hustle and bustle of life, and through my situation in life right now, it seems like I forget everything I know. You know, or maybe I don't forget it. I just don't go to those. I get back to the way I used to live. You know, the way I used to. Those immediate thoughts and reactions come in, and when I walk in the doors, I'm like, no, this is what I need to be doing. This is where I need to be. This is just because I'm not running the things I used to run, or however, I don't know the proper way to put it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not running the book study. I'm not running the NA meeting. I'm not running the Fourth Friday Night Celebrate anymore. Doesn't mean I can't participate, because no matter what, just being here helps me. It helps me realize that all that shit outside there, out in the world, isn't that bad. It's just life, you know.
That's good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
No, yeah. I mean, that's spot on, man. Like, it's nice to hear it from somebody else every once in a while. You know what I mean? Like, it's confirmation that it's confirmation for me that what I'm doing is correct. What I'm doing is working, and what I'm doing will work. And also with just doing this, right? Like the podcast, or even if we didn't have the cameras and the mics, like, this is just to let me know, or the newcomer know, that, you know, this does work. It's not easy, but it's not even just this place, right? Like, it's your community. You have to build that community and relationship within a recovery lifestyle to have that security, that safety, that home, you know? Like, in my my last relapse, I kept hearing people tell me, go home, you know what I mean? I kept thinking, where the fuck is that? You know? Like, where the fuck is that? And then it just fucking clicked. Like, this is home.
Yeah.
To me, you know? Like, it's odd. Like, I thank God for this place, you know? And thank God for you and Kendall and Charles and everyone who supports this place, and, you know, everyone who comes in and out of these doors. Like, thank God for the lessons and the blessings that we have to be here. You know, it's really good and refreshing to hear how you've done it and how you keep doing it. It gives me more light in the darkness at times, you know. I mean, dude, I was telling Kendall a couple days ago, I fucking miss him, you know. Like, I don't know why. I don't like him that much, but I fucking miss him, you know.
Yeah.
But like we do. I mean, we're basically family now. You know, like we've seen each other the hardest parts of our life, or in the greatest parts of our life, and we know where we've been and we know where you've gone, and like, dude, you can do better. You know, it's just that homeboy, like, bro, don't let that shit get to you. You know, like, you gotta have that, man.
Yeah.
You have to have that. And I appreciate it, you know? Like, I appreciate everything you've done and Kendall does and anyone in here does, you know? Like, we're building a relationship so that we can get where we need to go, or where we can get where God wants us to go. And I don't think I could do it without you guys, you know? But that's really good. Do you have any more questions?
Well, I do, and I think I asked Vince's when he was on. It's going to be kind of a hard question, but what have you learned about yourself from working with other people?
A lot. I mean, I've actually learned something about myself. You know, I've learned that I'm not that piece of shit that I thought I was my whole life. That I'm not a failure. That no matter what mistakes I make or what accomplishments I make, that I'm a good person. You know, I mean, I come in here believing I was the biggest piece of shit in the world. You know, I was a failure as a father. I was a failure as a husband. I was a failure as a son. And I was a bad person, you know. And it's still hard for me to believe, because I hear this all the time and it blows my mind. People tell me you're a good person, you know. And I'm like, who the fuck have you been talking to? Like, I mean, you don't really know me, you know? And then I have to sit back and realize I am a good person, you know? I'm an all right person. Helping other people it's an odd thing for me, because I don't feel like I'm actually helping people. That's not something I feel like I'm doing. Just by coming up here and sharing my story, or opening up in a meeting, or doing this right here, talking. When someone tells me, you know, Vince has told me several times, dude, you said this, and I really related to that, and that really helped me. And that's when situations like that happen, that's when I realize I do actually help people, you know. One time I come in for Celebrate and sat down, and I remember you said, you bring a lot more to the table than you realize. And I'm still realizing that I actually do bring something to the table. But I mean, that's one of the things that, why I try to come back here. I mean, I know I've been lapsed and I've been isolating for a little while now. But it's like, I want to give back. I want people to see that you hear about people going through the program, but you don't see them. I mean, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people have gone through this program, and a lot of people have been successful, and they're living very successful, great lives, but you don't see them. And that's one of the things that I wanted to put an effort into changing. You know, like being around here, so people can see like it works. It does work. And the way I see it is, if you actually see it, or see a person coming back and doing things, and see them living their lives, you actually can believe
that it works.
Yeah, that it works. I mean, it's not just all on faith. I mean, faith is a wonderful thing, and you have to have it, but it helps build your faith, I guess. It helps build your inspiration, maybe. I mean, it's hard for me to say, you know, yeah, I hope I'm an inspiration to people. I really do. I hope I am. And I think I am, but it's hard for me to believe that.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things, you know. I mean, I've learned a lot about. I'm starting to learn who I am, which I didn't know who I was. I thought I was just a dopehead, you know, and I'm not just a dopehead.
What are some things that you've learned about yourself?
That I'm gonna fail at things, you know. That was one of the big things. That if I'm not failing at things, I'm not growing. I'm not taking chances. I'm not moving forward. I've learned that no matter what life throws at me, it's going to be okay. I've learned that maybe through God, I mean, this is just what's going through my head, so I'm just going to spit it out. I mean, through God, I can do just about anything I want to do or need to do or He wants me to do. I can overcome things. I can deal with things now, you know. I've learned that I'm going to have emotions, and I'm probably not going to deal with them the right way. But I'm not going to learn how to deal with them until I start dealing with them, and that's how I learn how to deal with them the right way, you know.
Yes.
By experience. I mean, something someone told me, I believe it was you, told me, I can't remember exactly how it was put, just deal with it and then reflect on it later on. And if you didn't deal with it the right way, learn from it. So the next time that situation occurs, you can learn to deal with it the right way, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, pay attention to what you're doing and how you're handling stuff, what you're saying, your tone of voice. Because those things that, how you communicate usually stops you from either getting through or moving forward. And I'm a big believer in that. If I just pay attention to what I say, how I say it, and how I sound when I say it, it's that usually helps get me through. Is handle situations way better than I used to. Is whenever I pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, I still handle things the wrong way. But then I have to stop and realize, okay, so that didn't go the way I wanted it to. I didn't really get my point across. Maybe I need to word it a different way and tone of voice, you know what I mean? And come at things a different way. I've learned a lot with people. Now, seeing as I'm in a relationship, I've learned a lot with dealing with shit like that, like suggestions. Like I don't tell people what to do, you know, because I have the tendency to walk in and tell you what the fuck I think you should do. This is what you need to do. This is how you need to do it, and this is how you're gonna fucking do it.
How does that work out when they do? It's turned around.
It doesn't work out because I'm like, fuck you. You know? Excuse my language, but there's no other way to put it. I mean, that's my immediate thought. You know, like, oh yeah, I'll show you. You know.
Yeah.
So I've learned to reword things, and I use this a lot. You know, my suggestion is, you know, and then it's up to. I can only give people suggestions, and it's up to them if they want to try them or not. You know, it's up to them if they want to listen to me or not. But it does have a lot to do with the way I say it and my tone of voice, and whether I'm trying to tell you what to do or I'm trying to suggest to you a different way. You know, which was a lot of the things y'all did with me. I mean, I had to look at things like, yeah, some things I was told I needed to do, and I didn't like it. I was willing to do it, but I responded a lot better when it was suggested. You know, when someone would say, "Look, I suggest you try this," or maybe you should try doing that. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. You know.
Yeah. Well, I'll throw it out there like this. So, kind of give you something to look forward to, or kind of acknowledge when it happens. So, one of the things that I've been learning about myself working with the next person is, and it's usually a lot of newcomers and people that's got 5 or 6 months or something like that, is I have the answers to all your insecurities, your doubts, your distorted thinking, your mind lying to you. I have all those answers. And the reason why I have all those answers is because I deal with them too. You know, I all I can do is tell you how I battle those thoughts or battle those thinking. And because that's usually what gets us back into distorted thinking is we believe that we're the only ones that have these problems, or I'm the only one that thinks like this, or I'm the only one that ever goes through this. If it was, I'm not going to use that analogy, but if it was, my luck is so bad that if anything else could go wrong, it will. All right? And when we believe that we're the only ones that do that, that's when it shuts our mouth. You know what I mean? So working with the next person and hearing them get gut-wrenching honest about, man, I was thinking this today, and I always go back to this. And it's usually, yeah, of course. Yeah, I've done that. You know, and it's like I have those answers when that thinking comes about, or that self-deception or that self-doubt or insecurity comes up. I have those answers. It's because I've dealt with those over the years too. And that's, for me, it's cool to see that. Not that they go through that or somebody else goes through that. It's cool to see that is because maybe that's why I'm there. Is to tell you how I overcame it. And like you said a few minutes ago, was just showing up. You know, you went through the program, you done the program, you're out living your life, doing life on life's terms, and just your presence is enough. It's like that dude came through here and he keeps coming back, and man, I want to ask him how he did it. You know, I don't get that too much. I'm here, I work here, I do it a lot, so it's good to see that people come in, share that, and I'm not the only one saying it. Because they need to hear it from different people. They need to hear it from the people that are living life on life's terms and came in the same way they came in and did the same program they're doing, and they can live life, you know?
Yeah.
It's good that you come back, and like I was just saying, your presence is enough. Mm-hmm. That's
it really blows my mind. I mean, I don't know how many times I've walked in. So I'll just use today as an example, right? So I pull up. New dude comes out to the car, and he's all something about lawn mowing, this and that. And I'm like, no, bro, just hang on, hang on. And I get out the car, and I'm like, I was here. I went through the program. I'm just showing up, And I introduced myself, and he said, oh, you're TJ? And I'm like, all right, like, my name has been said, you know what I mean? And he was like, it's good to see you. Like, they've talked a lot about you, And one of the most heartwarming things is to know that if my name is mentioned here, which I'm sure it is, that it's all good things. It's not, oh, that's that motherfucker that stole. That's that motherfucker. That motherfucker owed me money.
He's got my copper.
He's got my lawnmower.
Yeah. Is that my car outside? And this has happened to me several times. And then a while ago, when I was walking back here to do this, one of the guys said, man, it was good to fucking see you. It was good to see you, and that just helps reinforce the fact that I need to show up. I need to be around. Not only does it help me, I mean, this is my home too. No matter if I live in fucking New York, this will always be my home. Yeah. And you guys will always be my family. Even if it's a different set of guys, I mean, y'all will be around, and there's a couple people that will be here for sure, hopefully. But no matter what, like, this community is my family. Something I do want to say is it was hard for me when I was told not to communicate with my family for, 3 months, 90 days?
Yeah, 90 days.
Yeah, no communication with family, can't go nowhere. And there was something else. No contact with anyone outside, I think, or something along them lines.
Couldn't go to work?
Yeah, couldn't do nothing. Couldn't leave. That was a real fucking slap in the face, And
but the cool thing is you done it.
Yeah.
And you weren't locked in. You done it voluntarily.
Oh yeah.
There was no locked doors.
No.
Nobody's got you chained to the radiator or anything.
No.
You did it voluntarily. And that was what was awesome.
Yeah, the awesome part is that, just like you said, there were things suggested, and you had to swallow your pride and do them.
Yeah.
Like, you could have easily just, the best security here is the open door system, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You leave just like you came in. We don't need no security around here, bro.
Yeah, just go out the front door.
Yeah. But like he's saying, he had to swallow the pride and that's dedication, right? Like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do what they say no matter what. And then time plays into it, right? Like 3 days, 4 days, 90 days. That's a long time. But
I wouldn't say it was I wasn't dedicated. It was probably more out of desperation to change. You know what I mean? Like, I truly believed, and I still truly believe this. If I go back out into my addiction, it's life or death. You know, and it's probably going to be death. And I'm not willing or even wanting to step foot on that road. You know, that's not a road I want to take. I never imagined I could be an inspiration to someone. I never imagined I would be able to help someone simply by
just showing up.
Yeah, just showing up and my experience. You know, what is it? My experience, strength, and hope. You know, the experience is what I know. The strength and hope is like, I'm still kind of clueless on that stuff. You know what I mean? It comes out of my mouth.
Nah, dude.
It's hard for me to put it together like this is my strength and hope. You know what I mean? It's just.
But it's easier seeing it from the outside than when it is looking in. You know.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, because there's some days I feel like I really ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, what the hell? I needed to hear that. That's just basic shit. Yeah. It's like, no, it's not basic. It's just some people need to hear what you have to say at that moment.
Yeah, it's the perfect timing.
Yeah. And
it's the perfect timing that makes you feel it.
Yeah, and it's always at the time you don't that you're not feeling it.
Oh yeah.
And that's when, like they say, when you don't feel like that you need to go, that's probably when you should go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, that means I'm gonna have to get up. Somebody's gonna say something, then I'm gonna have to put some action in. I don't want to put no action in today.
I want to sit here and stare at the TV. It's easier, you know.
No TV, man.
You got any questions? You got any more questions?
Yes, I do. I would love for TJ to share, before we close it out, what would you tell somebody that's struggling with keeping this thing rolling, keeping recovery going, or has struggled the third, fourth, fifth time and just can't get it right? What would you tell you? Because there's somebody just like you out there.
Yeah, that's a hard question. That's a good question, you know. It's hard for me to give out advice like that because I always think I'm going to say the wrong thing, you know. The first thing that pops into my mind is something I was taught here is don't give up 5 minutes before the miracle happens. And that's when I say that, it sounds like a cliche to me, you know, just like all the other cliches that we have in the program. But it's the truth, you know what I mean? Like don't give up before things start to change, you know. Ain't nothing gonna be fucking easy. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, if not the hardest thing I've done in my life. But if you're here and you're in the program and you got a day clean or 12 hours clean, you probably overcome the hardest part of it. You know, that doesn't mean it's going to be easy from here on out, because it's not. But the hardest part was getting here. The hardest part for me both times coming back was swallowing my pride and coming back in here and asking for help. I mean, the second time I walked in this room at 10 o'clock, walked right up to that chair, didn't want to say it, but I had to say, hey, I was wondering if I could come back. And I got a no, you know, straight off the back, no. And then it was sit down, you know, and go through the meeting. And the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, what the fuck am I going to do now? You know what I mean? The whole meeting, that's what I thought. And then after the meeting, he said, go down there and get your room, you know? And it was hard. And even the last time, it was hard to come back and swallow my pride because, like I said, I had some resentments. I had some resentments and some fears over the things I did and the way things were handled and the way things that were done that were necessarily, I mean, the way things were done what was needed to be done. But I didn't like it. You know what I mean? We always feel like we're in the right and everyone else is in the wrong. But that's the thing. I mean, it's if you got here and you made it here and you're asking for help, I mean, you've overcome a lot of shit, you know. Stick around, try it for a little while. We tried and did everything we needed to do to get high. Why not try and do everything you need to do to get clean? That way later on down the road, you can't look back and be like, well, I could have done this or I could have done that, you know, or I didn't try this or I didn't try that. And you don't have no, I don't know the word for it, man. I'm lost on words right now. That thought of thinking, well, fuck, I should have done this, you know, or maybe I should have done that, you know what I mean? But yeah, just stick around. I mean, and it's I'm not gonna lie to people and tell them it's fucking easy. It's a cakewalk, you know, because it's not. It's a simple program, but that don't mean it's easy. But just don't give up. I mean, we didn't give up. You didn't give up when you was looking for dope. Why you want to give up when you're looking for a better life, you know?
Woo. Burn them up.
That's. I mean, he's totally right. I mean,
right.
we didn't have any conditions on it whenever we were trying to get high. It was unconditional. We'll do whatever we can.
All in.
All in. No matter the consequences. No matter who we burn. No matter who we push out of our life. We're going to get high. We're going to get drunk.
Yeah.
But it seems like whenever you get in recovery, now you want to put some conditions on. I'm only going to do it if somebody treats me this way. I'm only going to do it if somebody says it this way. I'm only going to do it if they listen to what I say. And it's like, why are you putting that many? I mean, you already thought yourself out the door.
Yeah, you're done already.
Yeah. And the biggest, believe me, Cobos, believe me, dude, I had a lot of pride too when I got in this program. I had a lot of pride too, but I knew I was beat. I knew my way was not working, so I took those conditions off, and I said, anything's got to be better than what I'm doing, and sometimes it takes more for others. Sometimes it doesn't go that dramatic or to them lengths, but everybody gets it their own way, and it's good to see that you got it, you know, that you understood that it's for your own good. And I like that because that's how I took it too, was this is for my own good.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the greater good of me.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And the cool thing about it is it doesn't benefit anybody but you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what do you got to lose? I mean, I'm not gaining anything from you doing it, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you ain't got nothing anyway when you get here.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, something else I want to say
I
just thought about was all that shit you're worried about, your family, your girlfriend, your ex-girlfriend, your wife, your kids, whatever, you got to leave all that shit outside. And that's hard to do, you know, because you get clean, you get a couple days, you get a week, you get a month, and you think, oh, I need to get back with I need to talk to my kids, I need to talk to my wife, I need to talk to my mom and dad, I need, you know, my sister, whatever. And that was a big struggle for me. I mean, I'm glad that's why those conditions were set on me, no contact with family. My kids I didn't have any contact with anyway. But through the course of the past 4 years, all those relationships have been restored. And that's a God thing. I mean, that's God did for me what I couldn't do for myself, was restore them relationships. But I mean, all that shit you're worried about, because I see when I lived here and when I'm around here, and I'm sure y'all see it, a lot of guys come in and they're hung up on these things. Oh, I need to talk to my kids, or oh, this and that, you know. Well, fuck, dude, you ain't talked to your kids in 6 months, you know. You wasn't talking to your kids when you was hitting that pipe.
Yeah.
Like,
All of a sudden, you're Clark Griswold.
yeah, all of a sudden you need to see your kids. Like, you need to forget about all that shit. It will come when the time is right, you know. I don't know, the hang up. So I catch myself, and the excuses thing, like you were saying, you'll excuse yourself right out the door with all these conditions. I still catch myself doing that shit in situations in life, you know? I mean, I have to stop and be like, no, TJ, quit making excuses. You know what I mean? I had to make excuses to go to work for 6 months, you know, even though I didn't want to. And then, I mean, and I've recently switched jobs, or I'm switching jobs, and I believe I handled that not the right way. I'm not going to say wrong, but not the right way, because a lot of decisions were made based on my emotions at the time, my anger, my discontent. But shortly after, I made some decisions, and then I fucking sat at home and started panicking and thinking, what the fuck did I just do? I looked up to God, and I prayed to God, and I said, look, man, whether I made the right decision or the wrong decision, I need you to bless me in this decision or help me work through it, you know? And I believe now, I didn't feel this way a few days ago, but now I believe that everything's going to be all right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because I make bad choices or mistakes doesn't mean they're not going to turn out for the better. You know, I mean, I kind of got off track there, but I mean, that's something
good.
that's been rolling through my head a lot here lately. You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's awesome.
That's really good, man. I get it. I mean, for one, you got nothing when you get here, so you got nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
Yeah.
You know, so why not? You know, let's just try this for a little bit, or for a long bit. You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, just try the effort to make the effort you put in to make the change, which is asking for help. The first step is probably the hardest. I can agree with that for sure. But I think we're pretty good. Do you think? You got anything?
It's whatever. I mean, are you good?
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
I mean, I want to say something.
Yeah.
Even still, almost 4 years clean, asking for help is still a hard fucking thing.
Mm.
It's and I heard this. I think I told you this. I heard this on a guy I listened to that's in the program. And I'll try to quote it the same way he said it. Was one of the most gangster things in the world is when a grown man can go to another grown man and say, "Hey, I'm not okay. I need some help." And that's a hard fucking thing to do. And it's still hard for me to do. But now I have that mindset of there's going to be times in my life when I need some help. And I need to get over that condition, I guess is the right word, and go ask for fucking help, you know? And it's hard to do. It's still hard for me to do. It's not an easy thing for me to do. And I don't know if it's who I am, the race thing, being Mexican. I don't know. I don't know if all this plays in the age, if all this plays into it, you know what I mean? But it's just one of the things I've learned. There's going to come many, many times when I need to go ask for help. And I don't, you know what I mean? I try to push my way through it, muscle my way through it. And then I don't like the result. And then I'm like, okay, dummy, like you knew what the fuck to do. Just go do it.
It's a generational thing.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with race. It's a generational.
Okay.
It's a generational thing. We were brought up, even in school, we were brought up that you need to be able to handle your problems and pull yourself up by your own bootstraps and handle your shit. And it's like, why? Why were we brought up like that? Because they were brought up like that. You know, it's a generational thing. It's how we were raised, you know, and I'm not saying it was good or bad. It's just some people just didn't know any better. You know, I got to go to work. And that's how they get through their problems is I got to go to work. And our deal is well, I can work later.
Yeah.
But let me get through this.
Yeah.
Let me get this baggie done, and then we'll handle some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just generational, man. It's just how we're brought up. That's the way Americans are supposed to do it. And it's like, well, some of the best deals or some of the best plans have been over lunch. And majority of the time when you go to lunch, nobody's sitting there by themselves having lunch. You know, that's a community thing. Or you go to church and everybody does a potluck, and I mean, they're not just sitting there talking about how great the service was. They're talking about their lives. I know that because I've gone around tables ear hustling. It's like, what do these people actually talk about?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they're talking about real life stuff. They're talking about how last month went, or how the kids are doing, or how the job's going, and some of those conversations can be very vague. But if you have a community of people around you that you trust, they're not that vague. They get in pretty detailed.
Yeah,
people trying to figure some stuff out together.
Yeah, they're actually getting really deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds vague.
It sounds vague.
Know.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just catching it as we walk by, and we're like, oh yeah, and we're not hearing the whole story. And that's what a great community can do for you is help bring you up and let you drop those fears and insecurities about having to ask for help.
Yeah. Creates a comfortable situation, and then it creates a comfortable situation and a comfortable environment, but you have to be uncomfortable for a minute to find that. You know?
Oh yeah.
And majority of the time, whenever I go talk to somebody about something pretty deep, I'm like, all right, they know I'm a dumbass, so I gotta figure this out. I gotta tell them.
Yeah.
They already know. I can't hide nothing here. And it's like, no. They're like, yeah, what are you tripping on? That's normal stuff. This is how I did it, or this is how I was told to get it. This is what worked for me. And I'm like, oh. Oh. And it's just cool. It's just cool being able to reach out and put yourself to the side for a little bit.
Yeah, it is an uncomfortable situation, Yeah. To be vulnerable. That was a big thing too in the beginning, was being vulnerable to putting my life in your hands, or someone else's hands.
That's scary, dude.
It's scary as fuck, because your whole life, if you've lived the way I've lived, which most of us have, your whole life, you can't trust a motherfucker around you anywhere.
Right.
And sometimes that is your family as well, I mean, it wasn't for me, which I'm very blessed, but it could be your closest homeboy. He doesn't have your best interest in mind. He's got his best interest in mind. And now I have to live a life where there is people I know I can go to that give a shit about me, and they want to see me succeed, and they don't even know me. And it's very scary to put that situation in their hands, or to go to them and then take their suggestions and run with them, Something else I just thought of too when we were talking was about like the newcomer, like quit worrying about all that why bullshit. Like, why am I here? Why did I do drugs? Why? I mean, that's something I learned here, is like, there ain't no answer to that fucking question. Doesn't matter. You're burning good energy on a dumb subject. Put that energy towards moving forward, or a solution.
How?
Yeah, how can I change this? Why is it this way? Well, it doesn't fucking matter, because it just is, Mm-hmm. Why did I do drugs for 30 fucking years? Fuck, I don't know. I mean, because I liked them.
Yeah.
I mean, I did in the beginning. In the end, I didn't. But it's just wasted. To me, in my opinion, it's just wasted energy. And we do that. We waste our energy on shit that doesn't fucking matter. Mm. I do a lot of times, or did,
Been there, brother.
Yeah.
Damn. That was deep. I like that.
Yeah. Y'all ready to go smoke?
I'm ready to smoke.
Hell yeah.
Let's burn it.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, TJ.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank y'all for waiting on me.
Yeah.
Thanks
for coming in, man.
Yeah, anytime. I can do this anytime.
All right. Smoke. Come on, Dak.
We doing that recording business?
Come on, Big Dak.
We on that, Big Dak?
We're on that, Big Dak.
Get there, Big Dak.
Dak.